I'm 66. This will be the first time I've ever done marijuana legally. Unbelievable. Life is unbelievable. I grew up in the 70s. Uh, my teenage years were all in the 70s. And a lot of people smoked. A lot of people hated the people that smoked. You got caught, you got in trouble. The 70s wasn't quite as rough because we were just coming out of Vietnam and people understood how horrible that was for people dying or being injured, getting PTSD, and the horror of all the murders in '68, the criminal Nixon. So many bad things happened in the late '60s, in the '60s. And the '70s were kind of a healing area for trying to, you go through this rough, terrible stuff, then you need to heal. So that's what I think. A lot of the music in the early '70s was about healing or dealing with that trauma. So, the cops weren't and cocaine hadn't come into play. That was in the '80s. And cocaine was a different kind of animal, a drug that made people crazier, and there's more money involved. And marijuana, a lot of people could grow their own. And if you know how to do it right, you could grow pretty good marijuana. But it was illegal, and it's kind of gone. Now, you think I'm promoting drug use. You're wrong. It seems like for thousands of years, people wanted to do something, especially at the end of the day, take the edge off, to relax. And it's been alcohol. It's been alcohol. Alcohol can be a bad thing, too. My grandpa was an alcoholic, and they killed him. And he died at 62. I barely got to know him. My father was an alcoholic. He was taken out of the living room on a stretcher by the paramedics. I was 25, something like that. Ended up, he died from lung cancer from smoking. I was a volunteer coach at the high school I taught at, and I think another coach didn't like me and told the head coach, hey, this guy, he did drugs when he was younger. And I told the head coach, who I love, Coach Smith, good guy, so good to me. I said, Coach, they take my fingerprints when I become a teacher and send them down to Little Rock, and the FBI looks at them, and, if I had a drug problem in the past, I wouldn't have passed muster with them. And he kind of goes, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I said, but my grandpa died from drinking, my dad died from smoking, so if you want me to talk to the team about drugs, I will, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So don't think I'm the big cheerleader for marijuana. Marijuana is not going to save the planet. It's not going to save America. It's not going to save me. But to have it legal instead of illegal, I think is a good move. Just like alcohol. It'd be much worse if it was illegal. There'd be a lot more crime. And I'm real sorry about all the cartels and all the money that are being made more on the powders and, the pills. Um, so I don't know the answer to all of that. Have a happier life, have a better life, have a community that's like this instead of fighting each other for money. That's the biggest drug is money. Our president likes to say he doesn't drink, but his drug is money and caffeine. I think he likes caffeine a lot, but the worst drug in the world is money because it may kill everything around it. Mammon, avarice, destruction of Mother Nature, extermination of species. creating the ghetto and low wages, and you'll rent from the rich people your whole life because your jobs don't pay shit. There's a real drug. But that's another subject, I guess. So, what did I get? I got indica gummies, blueberry. I like blueberry. 10 milligrams, there's 10 of them. I cut it in half. I'm going to take a half, 5 milligrams. Drink a beer. It's 4:30, so maybe my gummy happy hour will be 4:30, and my beer happy hour will be 5. And then I'll make dinner at 6 and go to bed at 7. That's what I did as a teacher. I'm still in that vein, but I'll get up at 5:30 or 6. I like it. That's what I did as a teacher. I got up at 5. I would leave the house before 6 because I picked up this other teacher in science, or he picked me up, and we picked up each other before 6. And then we would go to Springdale High, and we would be the first teachers in our buildings at about 10 after 6. The one person we didn't beat was Dolores, who was the head cook. We beat her some days, not all the time. She was usually there first. Good lady. Anyway, so I'm still, and I like that. I like morning time. It's pretty. Staying up late and partying and having a good time, I've done that, but I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather get up early. And to get up early, you go to bed early. What was I going to say? Well, it cost me $13.65. Their ATM, all they take is cash, and their ATMs weren't working. Luckily, I had $15, so $13.65. I'm kind of amazed. Like, I'm 66, man. I'm 66. Never done marijuana legally until right then. You can abuse any drug. Go around smoking weed all the time. It's not going to impress me or many other people. And you're going to be kind of a dumbass because you're so high. Just like alcoholics, it sucks the life out of them. So don't think that I'm bragging about anything like that. I'm happy it's legal and people aren't being thrown in jail. We're in Arkansas, so the Republicans try to slow everything down. Right over there in Missouri, it's legal. You don't need a card. I had to get a card. I paid $350. I didn't know what I was doing. I had to fill in these things. One of them said PTSD. Well, what is that? That's trauma. Now, the worst, I think, or a lot of it is from war, military. But almost all of us have had trauma, if not all of us. Your grandparents die, that's traumatic. Maybe somebody else in your family dies, that's traumatic. I wrote down getting whipped, getting the hell whipped out of me when I was a little kid by my alcoholic dad, and I wrote down getting cancer and having to go through 20 radiation treatments when I was teaching high school. Those are both traumatic. You might say that's not what PTSD is. I don't know what it is. When I talked to the doctor on the phone, he didn't even say nothing about it. He says, "Do you have any questions?" I go, "No, I don't have no questions." He goes, "Okay." You can say, "This is a joke then." Well, if that's a joke, then it's a real joke that we sell alcohol to anybody over 21, no matter what, or cigarettes. Money. America is becoming really crazy about money, and you average people, common people, which I'm one of, elected a man that loves money, and he's putting all these billionaires in charge of us. They want to cut our aid to families with dependent children and food for hungry kids and Social Security and Medicare. You figuring that out yet? I'm a fool. I used to ride to school with a really smart guy that taught chemistry and biology. He also could teach physics. I don't know shit about those things. I'm a fool. I'm a fool about nuclear power. Some of these billionaires that say, "Hey, I need the power for AI. We're going to do our own little nuclear power." All right. Well, where's the waste going? Isn't that the waste product that's radioactive for 15,000 years? Where's that going? Can you do that? Just an individual? I'm going to have a nuclear reactor. There's going to be waste for 15,000 years. I'm going to die at around 80 or 90. But the toxic shit that I produce will be here for 15,000 years. What? What is that? Don't be a fool. We're a fool in so many things. I just told you some of the things I'm a fool in. We had a foolish election. You're starting to see that. It's okay. We make mistakes every day. I make a mistake every day, or more than one. I shouldn't say one. It's because of what we did, or because of what we didn't do. We're all like this. Nobody's perfect. Don't try to tell me you're perfect. That's one thing about the president. He likes to brag about everything. I'm the best at this. I'm the best at that. Can't you see through that? How many of your friends are like that? Pretty soon your wife or your boyfriend or your husband or somebody's going to say, "Man, that guy's full of crap. All he does is brag about himself. He tells lies too." I don't know what that has to do with being a good person. Dishonorable, dishonest, dishonorable. We need to be honest and honorable. We can do that. We can do that. I think I'll just leave it there. The main thing is it's a mind blower to me, a 66-year-old that had to sneak around all the time. Oh, marijuana, it's a bad thing. While these guys, my dad had a half gallon of scotch and a half gallon of vodka. That put him in treatment. But he could drink that as much as he wants. People wouldn't say shit. Oh, he's drinking alcohol. He's one of us. Yeah. Almost killed him. That's the drug. You guys say that's fine. I don't understand some of the religious movement and helping elect this guy. What did Jesus say? Pay your taxes, render to Caesar, render to God what's God's, render to Caesar. Pay your taxes. Basically, is what he said. Pay your taxes. Now, what's the Republican number one thing they do? Is they cut taxes on the rich. They did it last time with Trump, and they're going to do it again. You know that. You know that. You can say you played the fool, but I don't believe you. Because that's happened since 1980. Since 1980, Reagan's tax cuts, which are called trickle-down, the average, the bottom 50% of America's income has gone up 20%. The top 1% has gone up 200%. The top 0.1% has gone up 600%. The 0.01% has gone up 800%. So Reagan said trickle down, which means give the money to the rich and it'll trickle down to the poor and the working people. Nah, that ain't happening. 1980 was 45 years ago. That's not happening. Quit being a fool. Quit being played the fool. What else did Jesus say? Sell all your things, give the money to the poor. Really? Is that what people are standing for? Is that what this new administration and Congress stand for? Sell all your things and give the money to the poor. I don't see that. What about judgment? What about saying these guys are bad guys, these guys are vermin, these guys are enemies of the state, these guys are very good at demonizing others? What did Jesus say? It's easy to see the dust in your neighbor's eye, but not the mote in your own, or the log in your own. It's easy to judge others. It doesn't make it right. It's just it's a way to make you feel good. Like, yeah, you're a good one. You're one of the good ones. They're the bad ones. Dividing us. But what you're not looking at is the top 0.01% getting 600% income increase since 1980, and regular people getting 20% increase. You got to learn a little bit more about economics, monetary policy, fiscal policy, equality, wealth concentration, wealth taxes. How can we create a housing market where people can own their own homes or apartments? It may be apartments, not homes, just like Europe, just like other places. But instead of paying the rich people, the man, forever and ever, starting to create some equity in your own, owning your own stuff. You take care of your own stuff. You don't always have to basically pray to the head of the plantation. We're kind of being slaves to the plantation masters. That's economics. Anyway, I'm 66. I just did marijuana legally. I'm not bragging like that's the greatest thing in the world, but oh, Jesus Christ, it's a big change, man. Unbelievable compared to before, where I had to be locked up or have to pay a bunch of money, or people be pointing at me, look, he's a pothead. Wow. Some things are changing for the better. Let's change a whole bunch of stuff for the better. You and me.